Tonight on NewsWatch, the epidemic of sexual assault in the military, what the Pentagon plans to do.
Plus, tens of thousands take to the street to protest an Islamic State. We'll show you where.
And CBN News gets an exclusive look at the amazing revival taking place in China's countryside. All this and more tonight on NewsWatch. Good evening, I'm Mark Martin.
And I'm Wendy Griffith. An historic hearing today on Capitol Hill. It was the first time all the heads of the U.S. Armed Forces have appeared before the Senate Armed Services Committee.
They were grilled about the growing problem of sexual assault in the military. Dale Hurd has tonight's top story.
A recent Pentagon report found there were as many as 26,000 sexual assaults within the military last year, up from 19,000 the year before.
Nobody who volunteers to serve our country should be subjected to this kind of treatment by those with whom they serve.
Victims often hesitate to report the crimes because of a lack of trust in their commanding officers, claiming many are soft on enforcing accountability.
We are acting swiftly and deliberately to change a climate that has become a bit complacent.
Congress is now considering at least 7 bills that would overhaul the military justice system. One proposal, opposed by top brass, would take prosecution of sexual assaults out of the chain of command, preventing commanding officers from deciding which crimes should go to trial.
It will undermine the readiness of the force. It will inhibit our commanders' ability to shape the climate and discipline of our units.
But some victims of military sexual assault want changes.
The system is rigged against the victims.
A majority of the seats in the Senate Armed Services Committee are now held by women.
This isn't about sex. This is about assaultive domination and violence.
Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Betrayal, fear, intimidation. Those are some of the words used to describe how conservative groups felt while applying for tax-exempt status with the IRS. Some of them, for the first time on Capitol Hill, testified about their experiences. One group says it waited 3 years before the IRS approved its tax-exempt status. Another is still waiting, but they're all united in their belief that they were targeted because of their conservative political views.
The Wetumpka Tea Party filled out a complete application. Our organization fell within the boundaries of receiving a 501c4 status. Yet, our application was singled out solely because we had Tea Party in our name.
Today's House and Ways and Means Committee kicked off the first of several hearings that will investigate the IRS this week.
Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia warns the High Court's ruling on a DNA case could lead to a police state. The court ruled police can take DNA samples without a warrant from suspects arrested for serious crimes. Five of the justices said DNA testing was a legitimate procedure like fingerprinting. 28 states and the federal government now take DNA swabs after arrests. Privacy advocates argue that taking a suspect's DNA without a search warrant violates the Fourth Amendment. Scalia sided with the court's liberals in his dissent. He wrote, "Make no mistake about it, as an entirely predictable consequence of today's decision, your DNA can be taken and entered into a national DNA database if you are ever arrested, rightly or wrongly, and for whatever reason."
Yesterday, we told you how smartphone users who want to ditch their passwords could soon be able to use electronic tattoos or even a pill to do the job. Motorola has come up with the tattoo, flexible electronic circuits that attach to your skin with a rubber stamp. To verify identity, users just place their smartphone near their tattoo. Motorola has also come up with computer chip pills. Once swallowed, they give off an electronic tracer that can verify the identity. These developments concern privacy advocates, as does this one. The search engine Yahoo announced it will now perform automated scanning and content analysis of all emails sent through Yahoo Mail. Users must agree to the new policy or close their accounts.
One privacy expert who's concerned about all this is Dr. Catherine Albrecht, and she joins us now from Washington. Dr. Albrecht, let's talk about Yahoo first. What exactly does Yahoo's new policy allow them to do?
Well, the policy says that any email that is sent or received through a Yahoo account can be scanned. And when they say scan, it's an automated scanning process, but it goes through and it looks for keywords, nouns, concepts, and then stores all of that information and analyzes it for advertising purposes or for what they call abuse protection. So what it means is that you will have an immense dossier of personal information based on the private emails that you write to other people.
Well, what alarms you the most about this kind of privacy invasion?
I think the most alarming aspect of this is that when people write email, we have this concept that you're putting something in an envelope, that it's a private correspondence. And the idea that they would be opening up the emails that we've simply entrusted them to deliver, actually reading them, this means that they could get access to information that you send to your doctor, your medical records, legal accounts. It could be your accounting, your tax returns. There's a whole lot of personal information that people share through email, and now all of that information is going to be in Yahoo's hands.
Well, let's go back a moment to those electronic tattoos that Motorola has come up with. Could this technology go beyond passwords to personal information like you were just mentioning?
Well, I think the concern about all of these things converging, we've got technologies that are all designed to track. And if you develop a tattoo that's designed for authentication purposes, and that tattoo is emitting a radio frequency signal that can be tracked, then what you're going to find is that that signal is going to become your authentication. It's going to track you. So to get into, to start your car, your ignition, to open your front door, to turn on your computer, to get a dial tone on your phone. And ultimately, I have to say, as a Bible-believing Christian, that I have some real concerns about this being a mark on the skin that's actually transmitting a number that down the road could definitely be used to buy and sell and really to perform just about every other action in society.
That's a good point. Well, what's the danger when people trade privacy for convenience?
Well, I think anytime you hear the word smart, look out. Or anytime you hear the word efficient, look out. Because I think we're being lulled into a sense of almost laziness, that we want everything to be given to us. When Google recently decided to consolidate all of its privacy policies, what they said is it's too hard for people to keep track of where to go and what the traffic looks like, so we'll just do all that work for you. And I think if we're not careful, we're going to wake up one day in a society where they're doing the work for us and watching us in our own kitchens and our own bathrooms and everywhere we go. And that's not private, that's not independent.
That'd be scary for us, and it's probably scary for them too. Dr. Catherine Albrecht, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.
France announced today tests have come back positive for the use of sarin gas in Syria. This comes on the heels of a United Nations report claiming chemical weapons have been used in at least 4 attacks in the civil war there. The UN report says it still needs to test samples from victims and sites of suspected chemical attacks, but rebel and Syrian forces have long accused each other of using such weapons. Unlike France's announcement, the UN report does not determine what chemicals were used or which side used them, but it does accuse both sides of committing war crimes and warns against the increased availability of weapons. In Turkey, unprecedented protests have been taking place for the last 5 days. Tens of thousands of Turks have taken to the streets demonstrating against attempts to turn Turkey into an Islamic state.
Now the United States is wading in, concerned about heavy-handed police tactics. George Thomas has more on this unfolding drama.
It began as a peaceful demonstration over a disputed construction project, but quickly escalated into nationwide protests against the Turkish government. Crowds chanting, "Jump, jump if you're not for Tayyip." Recep Tayyip Erdogan is Turkey's prime minister. This crowd wants him and his government gone. In the famed Taksim Square in the heart of Istanbul, tens of thousands are accusing the prime minister of trying to impose strict Islamic reforms on a country that has deep secular traditions.
This is not Taksim Square anymore. This is Tahrir Square. This is Red Square. This is the square of the revolution. We will be here until Tayyip leaves.
Since coming to power in 2002, Erdogan has lifted the ban on women wearing headscarves, built 17,000 mosques, banned kissing in public, and recently passed a law restricting the sale and advertising of alcohol. signs, protesters say, of a creeping Islamization of Turkey.
We are continuing this resistance. It started 3 to 4 days ago. People don't see what's happening to our country.
Demonstrations have hit 48 cities across the country. Police are accused of being heavy-handed. Turkey is a key American ally in the region, but the U.S. Secretary of State called Erdogan to show restraint.
We are concerned by the reports of excessive use of force by police.
At the heart of this crisis, experts say, is a battle between secular, liberal-minded Turks and those who want to turn the country more conservative, more Islamic. George Thomas, CBN News.
An Egyptian court has convicted 43 nonprofit workers of illegally using foreign funds to incite unrest, and that includes at least 16 Americans. All but one from the U.S. were sentenced in absentia, having fled Egypt a while ago, and each received a sentence of 5 years in jail, including Sam LaHood. Now, he's the son of the U.S. Transportation Secretary Ray LaHood. The White House has yet to comment on the convictions.
Coming up, a closer look at the administration's explanation as to what happened during the Benghazi scandal.
Jim is 38, mortgage, married, 3 great kids. He wants to protect his family with a $500,000 term life insurance policy. What do you think it'll cost him? $100 a month? 60? 40? Actually, none of the above. Jim can get a $500,000 policy from a highly rated insurer for under $19 a month. His secret? SelectQuote. SelectQuote is impartial. They'll comparison shop the pick of insurance companies like these to give you a choice of your best prices. SelectQuote has great savings on term life for women, too. Jim's wife, Deidre, can get a $500,000 policy for under $16 a month. SelectQuote has helped make term life insurance affordable for hundreds of thousands of people since 1985. How about you? Just call this number or go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
In 2008, my husband Gary departed for heaven. I was still grieving. And then to find out I had cancer, I began praying, God, how do I do this? Where do I do this? Cancer Treatment Centers of America was the place. Dr. Neelam outlined a plan that would take care of my mind and my body, and she prayed with me.
For Bible-believing Christians, we're able to pray with them in a much deeper way as they begin to really rely upon their faith.
At Cancer Treatment Centers of America, we believe in the power of faith and prayer as indispensable allies in the fight against complex and advanced stage cancer.
I'm back in Telluride on the mountain skiing. I feel strong and healthy.
Advanced medicine and technology.
And I am a survivor.
The warm embrace of the Spirit and the power of prayer.
These are happy tears.
Please go to cancercenter.com/faith. Appointments available now. Cancer Treatment Centers of America. Care that never quits.
President Obama promised his administration would be the most transparent administration ever.
But critics say the White House has been anything but, especially when it comes to finding out what really happened in the attack at Benghazi.
John Jessup has that story from Washington.
The accusations range from a cover-up to stonewalling to simply telling a lie.
It's about the government lying. It's about people being in harm's way, feeling abandoned, and we've got to repair that trust.
Since the September 11th, 2012 attack on the U.S. diplomatic mission in Benghazi, the Obama administration has been on the defensive, responding to a barrage of questions about the attack that ultimately claimed the lives of 4 Americans, including Ambassador Christopher Stevens. To critics, the administration's explanations then and now just don't add up. And some say, nearly 9 months later, there are more questions than answers.
It was clear to me that everyone on those calls should have known that this was an attack, a premeditated terrorist attack.
Congress has launched several investigations on Benghazi, And last month's hearing from State Department whistleblowers was followed up with a promise from congressional Republicans to continue their pursuit of the truth.
This hearing opened the floodgates, but there are many, many more hearings we have to go through to find out the truth and find out why the truth became a lie.
The White House calls the constant focus a sideshow and a political circus, but critics say they mean business. Last week, the Republican chairman of the House Oversight Committee subpoenaed all documents and communications referring or relating to the Benghazi talking points to current and former State Department officials. And the Republican National Committee filed a Freedom of Information Act request for correspondence between the State Department and the president's 2012 re-election campaign. It believes, at the very least, the administration misled Americans about the attack. John Jessup, CBN News, Washington.
And for more on this, we spoke with author and historian Bill Federer. On the 700 Club, Pat Robertson asked him why the U.S. might not have sent any help to the consulate in Benghazi when it was under attack.
Well, it's interesting. Prior to Benghazi, Hillary Clinton meets with 57 Muslim country leaders in Istanbul, Turkey. They're the richest men in the world, the OIC, Organization of Islamic Cooperation. The purpose of the meeting that Hillary co-chaired was to push a UN resolution which would outlaw free speech insulting Islam. The administration's actions immediately after Benghazi seemed to curiously line up with the promises made in Istanbul to these 57 Muslim country leaders to promote laws to prohibit free speech insulting Islam.
To view that entire interview, you can visit our website, cbnnews.com.
And up next, how ministers are seeing God move in the Chinese countryside.
Hello? Is this thing on? Hey, kids, do you love games? And do you love discovering things? Well, do ya?
Then you're gonna love this. It's the new free Superbook Kids Bible app. You can play games, watch videos, find answers to your questions, and a whole lot more. The new Superbook Kids Bible app. Free downloads available on iTunes now.
Ow, my feet hurt. My feet hurt, your feet hurt. White hot pain, I wanna cry. Is there anything I can try?
Why, yes! Introducing Strut Soul Angels, the human shock absorber that helps alleviate foot pain.
The first 10 steps in the morning to the bathroom were excruciating. Within 3 days after I put Struts on, it's been such a relief.
Slipped it on and almost immediately I felt a support, kind of like a pillow underneath my arches.
The Struts Soul Angel provides a great amount of relief and support throughout the course of the day, providing shock absorption and relief of pain.
On your feet without proper support can be painful. Strut Soul Angels promotes better balance, control, and body alignment. Standing in your heels all day is painful, but slip on Struts and you'll enjoy comfort and support 24/7. Struts is so versatile, you'll wear them in every shoe you own, even barefoot.
I'm on my feet all the time. I teach 11 and 12-year-olds. The pain was so much that I knew I had to do something. And with the Struts, I can do my job and enjoy my job.
I usually am on my feet from 8 to 12 hours a day. When I wear my Struts, it's like giving my feet a hug all day.
It's life-changing. I wear them from the minute I get up to the minute I go to bed.
Why pay $400 for custom orthotics?
Now get Strut Soul Angels for just $10. You also get Miracle Foot Repair Cream, absolutely free. Use it to help relieve dry, callous feet overnight. But wait, call right now and we'll double the offer free. Just pay separate processing and handling. Plus, you get a 100% money-back guarantee. If not completely delighted, send it back. But keep the foot cream as our gift just for trying. You get it all. A $70 value for just $10.
Oh, yes! Love my Struts, the best thing since sliced bread. They heal pain from toes to head. Get yours now, your doctor said.
Struts, be nice to your feet. Call now.
Call 1-800-787-1580 and get your Struts and Miracle Foot Repair for just $10 and we'll double the offer. That's 1-800-787-1580 or visit getstruts.com.
Today marks the 24th anniversary of the Tiananmen Square protests. The bloody crackdown by the Chinese military drove one of the leaders of the protests into exile. and to a faith in Jesus Christ. Chai Ling now heads a ministry opposed to China's forced abortions under the one-child policy. She told a U.S. congressional subcommittee that her country may be materially rich, but is spiritually poor. She believes Christ is China's best hope, and she prays that Chinese conversions to Christianity will lead to, quote, a godly partnership between America and China. President Obama meets with China's new president next week. Meanwhile, China's vast countryside is experiencing a powerful move of God. CBN News has obtained exclusive images from inside the country of this amazing revival.
Yeah, in tonight's Focus Report, George Thomas introduces us to a couple of Chinese evangelists who are witnessing many miracles firsthand.
Duan Huailei says these images captured on his home video camera are proof that God is moving in China.
This is the first time you're seeing pictures of Christians from the villages openly praising God.
Duan gave CBN News exclusive access to hours of video and pictures taken in dozens of locations across China. They show one thing in common: men and women of all ages being touched by the power of God.
Everywhere I go, I meet people who are hungry for God, and He's showing up.
Duan and his wife are full-time evangelists. Since 2003, they've crisscrossed the Chinese heartland, sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ.
God called us to focus on the rural areas where life is often very difficult.
Difficult, yet simple in many ways. Duan showed CBN News pictures of how people are baptized in rural areas after they've accepted Christ into their lives.
Sometimes I baptize them in a river. Sometimes they are baptized in the back of a pickup truck. A couple of times I've conducted baptisms in the shower. Very often we just have to improvise.
It was here in the Chinese countryside that Christianity first began decades ago. Most of the rural Christians now are women, meeting in either government-sanctioned churches or in so-called house churches.
The young and older men have moved to the big cities to look for jobs, and so most of those who attend these services are older women.
And mind you, sharing the gospel in China is still forbidden.
I was arrested here a number of times.
Such Christian gatherings are illegal since they aren't approved by the government.
The government doesn't allow people who live in one city to travel to another city. We are mindful of the regulations.
Despite the government restrictions, China watchers say what's happening spiritually in the country is nothing short of remarkable.
There are still masses of converts every day in the countryside. It's very encouraging.
This man, who we will call Peter, has worked with China's underground churches for decades. CBN News agreed to conceal his identity to protect him.
But still, so many peasants in so many places are coming to Christ in large numbers. Churches in many of those cases are maturing and getting beyond simple evangelism and reaching out to rural minority groups and unreached people groups.
Today is Communist China's new and global manifesto, militant and menacing.
It's a far cry from the dark days of the Cultural Revolution. Fang Gongyang heads the Center of Religion and Chinese Society at Purdue University.
At that time, all churches, temples, and mosques were closed, and no public religious service was allowed.
Chinese government data and international surveys now report millions of Chinese people flocking to religions like Christianity, Buddhism, Taoism, and Islam. But it is Christianity that's experiencing the most dramatic growth. CBN News obtained this map showing the stunning picture of Christianity's explosion across China's cities, counties, and villages.
If the current trend of growth keeps the current pace, I think it's likely in the next 30 or 40 years, the number of Christians in China could reach really a high number, perhaps similar to the US or Brazil.
Duan says the preaching of the Word of God in the countryside is usually followed by miracles and healings.
People who could never walk before begin walking. The blind see. I've even witnessed a man being raised from the dead. We see amazing healings and miracles each time we travel.
Duan is a walking miracle himself. In the late 90s, he and his wife lived in Budapest, Hungary, running a successful clothing company.
We were making lots of money and living the high life, but I didn't know the Lord. I soon realized I needed something more than material success. I eventually gave my heart to the Lord.
6 months after giving his life over to Jesus Christ, Pastor Duan was viciously attacked by members of a Chinese mafia team based in Budapest. He shows us the knife scars on his back, arms, and stomach that he says serve as reminders of God's protection and faithfulness.
I was stabbed over 50 times and almost lost my life, but I know God spared me for a reason.
And this is it, the opportunity to reach the remote parts of this great land with a message of hope and salvation found in Jesus Christ.
I preach in the government-sanctioned churches and house churches, and in both places, God is moving in powerful ways. My prayer is that one day, everyone in our nation will hear about Jesus Christ.
George Thomas, CBN News, Beijing.
And the gospel will prevail. Well, up next, why this Scottish woman and her kids are making history.
Your dryer runs forever, and your clothes still come out damp? Now you can speed up your dryer by up to 15 minutes. Introducing the Lint Lizard. It's like a magic wand that cleans deep into any dryer. The flexible Lint Lizard attaches right to any vacuum hose. Look how much lint we got out of this dryer. All this lint that escapes past your lint screen. Yuck! A clogged dryer works harder. All that lint can even burn out your motor. Or worse, it can start a dangerous vent fire. It's a full 40 inches long and cleans deep into your vent system, grabbing all the packed-in lint that's choking your dryer. After a quick cleaning with the Lint Lizard, your dryer vent is clear, making it work less and run more efficiently. Old-fashioned lint brushes pull out some lint, and the lint gets everywhere. The Lint Lizard cleans deeper and sends the lint right into your vac bag. Vacuuming between machines and under appliances is a snap. Take it outdoors to vac your outside vent. So before you spend a fortune on costly repairs, order your Lint Lizard for just $10.99. Call right now and you can double your order. And that's not all. We'll also include the Dust Lizard. It attaches to any vac and adjusts to any position. The Dust Lizard goes where no other attachment can. Clean delicate electronics, tedious air vents, tiny tile crevices, crumbs from corners, dirt from slider tracks, places you could never vacuum before, even expensive sculptures and intricate chandeliers. Plus, the Lint Lizard comes with a money-back guarantee. If you're not completely satisfied, return them and keep the Dust Lizard. You get it all, 2 Lint Lizards and the Dust Lizard for $10.99. Call now and find out about free shipping.
Call 1-800-373-2150 and get your Lint Lizard. But call now and you can get a special offer on a second Lint Lizard and the Dust Lizard with your order. So call 1-800-373-2150 and find out about free shipping. That's 1-800-373-2150. Call now.
And finally tonight, a mother in Scotland has defied the odds.
Yeah, she's given birth to her 3rd set of twins. Doctors say the chances of doing that are 500,000 to 1. Karen Rogers gave birth to twin daughters last week after having 2 sets of twin boys, ages 12 and 14. Karen says her husband did not believe her when she broke the news of her 3rd pregnancy. The Rogers plan to get a bigger car and convert the loft of their home into bedrooms, and they're going to need all that space. Wow.
And she got her 2 girls, so she had the 2 set of boy twins, and now she's got 2 beautiful daughters. I love it.
They need to do a reality show on them, you know?
They should. Oh,
Yeah.
I bet they will.
They might. Scottish TV, that's all for this edition of NewsWatch.
Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, have a great evening, and bye-bye.